Hello and welcome to Physical Therapy, a movie podcast. We're here every week talking movies largely inspired by the world of physical media and beyond. My name is Kurt.
I am Sam.
We are also joined by Kimberly, our producer. Good evening, Kimmy.
Bonjour, boys.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this show. We appreciate it so much. If you're enjoying it, please tell your friends, leave us reviews, follow us on Instagram, say hello on Instagram. You know, we're trying to spread the word. You know somebody in your life who still has DVDs?
Buys too many movies.
You send them our way. You know somebody in your life who
loves sudden death?
Send them our way.
It's a safe space.
You know anyone in your life who saw
Basic?
Basic? You know a Basic head? Send them our way.
Yeah, we're here for them.
Support group.
Did I tell you Music Millennium wouldn't buy my used copy of Basic and SWAT?
Damn, they don't know what they're doing then. That shit is a collector's item. Today, we are talking Warner Brothers' new 4K of David Fincher's serial killer thriller from 1995, SE7EN, which came out on 4K last month. We have rewatched the movie and checked out this new disc, and we're going to talk all about it in a little bit. But first, Sam, let's check in on the week in movies. What did you watch?
I have not seen much at home. It's honestly been a little sad lately. I've not had a lot of time to watch a bunch of stuff from my collection.
Okay.
But I did make it over to the theater last night after work, and I saw Love Hurts.
So all I know about this, I think, is that it's Steven Yeun and Kristen Stewart.
No. That's Love Me.
Okay. I know nothing about Love Hurts. Oh, it's Kiwi Kwan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And Ariana DeBose,
okay.
Is that her name?
Yep.
It's unfortunately kind of a stinker.
It's like a Valentine's Day action movie?
It's like a rom-com action movie. Kind of in the way of The Fall Guy from earlier last year. But the chemistry isn't there, nor are the stunts, nor is the script.
Damn.
It's just a little flat. You know, it's like 85 minutes. It's pretty easy to sit through, but it's like you could do better.
Okay.
But watching Key do some of these stunts again is like pretty fun.
Hell yeah.
What about you? What have you watched?
We had some friends over this weekend and did a screening of Shout Factory's recent release on 4K of Drag Me to Hell.
Ooh, fun.
Mm-hmm.
This is Sam Raimi's 2009?
That sounds about right.
Yeah. Like horror, comedy, gross out movie about a young woman who is cursed. And
that's pretty much it. I mean, it's her trying to lift that curse.
That's pretty much it. Tries to lift that curse in time before being dragged to hell.
Incredible movie.
Incredible, yeah. I've loved this movie since the moment I saw it in 2009 and have returned to it many times, but was very excited to see it come out on 4K last year and finally watched it. And it was fun because we watched it with a couple of friends who had not seen it.
Oh, that's even better.
Mm-hmm. They loved it.
Watched it big, watched it loud, and got to hear their reactions and stuff. It was great.
There are some like incredible scares on top of some incredible comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
It's oozing with Sam Raimi. You know?
Yeah.
It's perfect.
And that's why it works so well, because it's so scary and so funny all at the same time.
Allison Lohman, is that her name?
Yeah.
Her performance is awesome in it.
She's so good.
Her willingness to go there for Sam Raimi is so good.
Yeah, exactly.
Looked great on 4K too. Highly recommended if people don't have that.
I bought that disc, but I've not yet watched it.
I had like an original Blu-ray of it, studio, released, and then Shout did it on Blu-ray.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd always been circling that, so I was excited to have resisted and be able to finally get it.
How much do you love that feeling where you have like a studio release of a movie and a boutique label puts it out and you're like, oh, I should really get that. I know it's not much of an upgrade, but the case is so much cooler and blah, blah, blah. And then you never do it. And then the same boutique label announces the 4K later. So you feel justified in now upgrading it.
Let's just say it's such a rare occurrence that it's a real treat every time it happens. Speaking of psychosis, Sam, I want to propose a new kind of mini little format for our show here.
Ooh, okay.
For lack of a better label, I'm calling it Confessions. I think we should, on a weekly basis, make some space and talk to each other, confess to each other about our purchases, pre-orders, recent arrivals since last we spoke on this show. So
okay.
Every week I propose that we tell each other what we bought on Blu-ray, 4K, DVD, VHS, Laserdisc, etc.
My God. If you're my mother, just fast forward through this part.
Fast forward.
Yeah, this sounds great. I got an order this week, but I don't think I placed anything else.
Okay, so you had something arrive.
Yeah, I had a nice arrival from our friends over at Diabolic DVD. Some of the best in the game.
Always exciting.
Yeah, shout out. And I got the 3 new Tarantinos. So I got Kill Bill 1 and 2 and Jackie Brown, which were all upgrades for me. I had the Blu-rays, decided to go with the 4Ks. We're also going to do Kill Bill fairly soon on the show.
Yes, next week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very soon.
Yeah, very, very soon.
Keep your eyes and ears peeled. I'm happy to have them. I like the slip sleeves on them. I like the new artwork. I honestly had a 2-pack of Kill Bill 1 and 2 that I never liked the artwork on, and I did not just really enjoy the packaging at all. So it was like a fun, yeah, let's finally upgrade this and get better artwork.
What was your 2-pack? Mine were like individual releases.
It was like a studio release that was just Kill Bill 1 and 2. It just had like the yellow and red backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like kind of like the SWAT basic 2-pack.
Oh, got it. Okay.
I believe, do you remember when Best Buy had a deal that you could like trade in, they would like buy movies from you and you would get credit for it, but it was like something absurd. Like if you brought 1 movie, they'd give you $5 in credit.
What?
And if you brought like 6 movies, you got like $100 in credit, and they basically took anything.
That's insane. I don't remember that.
You're the one who told me about it, I believe.
I don't remember doing that, at least. Maybe I wasn't. Could you bring DVDs?
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say. That's how I upgraded a lot of my collection from DVD to Blu-ray.
So I told you about this and never did it?
I don't know, dog. It was like a real easy way to upgrade a bunch of titles, and that's how I got that Kill Bill.
And so this order did not include Arrow's Inglourious Bastards?
I mean, we can talk about this if we want to. I got a package in the mail like 2 weeks ago that was Inglourious Bastards, The Gift, The Cell, and Incubus, all from Arrow. It was all like, I think that was their January slate, right?
Yeah.
And my package looked like it had been run over by a truck about 950 times.
God damn.
I had to send all that back. Other than Incubus, I buy 4 movies. 1 is a blind buy. 3 are classics that I know I want and to put on the shelf. And those are the 3 that just arrive completely destroyed. You know, cases broken, discs flying around.
Were they cool about it?
Yes, they have sent me a package, apparently.
Okay.
And I'm pretty happy because a lot of that stuff is out of print. And I do think the Cell is going to come back in print when Arrow fixes the disc issue that they're having with the 4K. So I don't think that's sold out for good, but I would rather have one than to sit around and wait to find out.
Remind me what that disc issue is.
I believe on the 4K, it repeats a shot at like the 20-minute mark or something. It's like missing a frame and it goes to a different frame.
Got it. Okay. And then they're doing a disc replacement for it?
I'm pretty sure, but we'll see.
I have a pre-order of that I think is getting kind of backed up by Cure.
Is that the BFI one?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that's in the new releases section of Diabolic's website at this point, so your order should be shipping pretty soon.
Interesting about the Cell, though. I just got an email about like the Blair Witch Project from Second Sight. They had an issue with that where like it was an issue with the sound mix.
Okay.
I think it was like a mono track that was supposed to be stereo or vice versa, you know, months and months ago, but apparently those are shipping now.
Nice.
The replacement discs.
So you have your copy of it already?
I have, but I was kind of waiting for the replacement.
Yeah, I hear that. What about you? What are your confessions?
My confessions include a 4K of a little movie called Elysium.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, God.
Is it because Joel texted you?
Yes. Did he text you too?
Hell yeah.
I don't like that movie at all.
You're wrong, Kim.
Oh,
Kim, you might be wrong.
I did not like that one.
Elysium's tight.
Joel texted me and he goes, when was the last time you saw Elysium? And I just sent back, I'm ready to die on Elysium Hill any day of the week.
But you don't like Jodie Foster in it.
I think her performance is like actually terribly hilarious, but
Oh, it's terrible. And I love her.
the rest of the movie's so cool that I don't even care.
Oh,
That shot over the shoulder of, is it Shalto Copley? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah.
It's over his shoulder. He's riding in like a futuristic helicopter, right?
Mhm.
And there's like futuristic cars on the ground. And he's like shot some kind of, I haven't watched it yet. This is just how I remember this movie, but he's shot some kind of like delayed explosive onto this car. And it's like over his shoulder, looking down at the car from inside this helicopter. And these cars are driving. And he does this thing where like his hand is out and his palm is flat to the ground, and then he flips his hand over so his palm is facing straight up and kind of flicks his finger up toward the sky, his fingers, and then the cars explode, or one of them explodes, and it's like the fucking coolest thing ever.
Yeah, dude, it rules. I stand by that his CGI, the way that he does special effects, it looks better than 90% of people out there right now.
It's crazy how good they look. Yeah. Chappie, I mean, all of his sort of robot CGI is so good.
Yeah. The easiest criticism to make about his movies is his antagonists, whether it's Jodie Foster in Elysium or Hugh Jackman in Chappie, they're just kind of like the bad guy.
Kind of cartoon, two-dimensional. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just like, I'm the bad guy, so this is what I do. And it's like, yeah, okay, it's a bit simple storytelling, but everything else in his movies I find to be so cool and tangible that stuff doesn't really bother me.
I think there's also a kind of an argument to be made of, so what, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Elysium, at least from my memory, kind of feels like a movie made by and for like 10-year-olds, but in a way that is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. I can't wait to see it again. Kim, buckle up.
oh God.
So that happened,
Okay.
you know, no regrets. I also put a pre-order in with Diabolic that I'm excited for. Partly inspired by you, Samuel. I pre-ordered The Fall on 4K
Ooh, fun. Yeah, hell yeah.
from Umbrella.
Mm-hmm.
The Long Kiss Goodnight
Ooh.
from our friends at Arrow, which we talked about. And I'm blanking whether it's BFI or Studio Canal, but there's a 4K coming of Kurosawa's Throne of Blood, his adaptation of Macbeth, which is so goddamn good.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I haven't seen that. I want to see that.
Oh, really? Oh,
Yeah.
cool. God, it's good.
I think it's BFI.
Yeah. Criterion Blu-ray that I've had forever and love, and really looking forward to upgrading that.
Now that I'll watch. Elysium, no.
Wait till you see Jodie Foster in Throne of Blood, Kim.
Oh my God.
All right, Sam, I forgive you if you forgive me, you know? I absolve you of your sins.
Oh, yeah. Say 2 Hail Marys and you're good.
Say 2 Hail Marys and watch Elysium and everything will be fine.
Chug a High Life, say 2 Hail Marys and be on your way.
Shall we talk a little bit about announcements since last we spoke of them?
Yeah, none off the top of my head were like huge for me personally.
So I assume these are just Warner Studio releases, but unfortunately they are steelbooks, Sam. And also I'm not really sure where you land on Clint Eastwood, but there are 3 steelbooks of Clint Eastwood movies, Dirty Harry, Outlaw Josie Wales, and Pale Rider, that are coming to 4K for the first time. I'm pretty into all 3 of those, especially Dirty Harry and Josie Wales.
Clint is not my favorite person, but I really love Josie Wales.
Yeah,
We watched that together in the garage.
for sure. You gave me Josie Wales on Blu-ray for my birthday
That's right, yeah.
while I lived in a garage.
I have seen Dirty Harry. Is Pale Rider the one where he paints the town like red? Or is that Hang 'em High?
I don't
I think it
remember.
might be Pale Rider.
I know I've seen it at some point, but
I like all those movies fine. I would actually really need to revisit Dirty Harry.
Dirty Harry's good. That one I can confirm. And Josie Wales I remember loving.
I have like one of those old school like Blu-ray books of Josie Wales.
Oh yeah, probably very out of print.
Yeah.
You should probably sell that immediately, honestly, if you're planning to upgrade anyways.
I'll actually highlight one. You know, Vinegar Syndrome always does their announcements at the first of the month for the month that you're in. So
Okay.
for February, they announced this movie called The Possession of Joel Delaney. I don't know anything about this movie. It sounds really cool. Vinegar Syndrome, as we've highlighted before, has great copywriters for their movies. But this is the breakdown of what this says. A tense and genuinely unnerving story of paranoia and the supernatural from acclaimed director Waris Hussein, who did A Touch of Love, and adapted from a Ramona Stewart's chilling novel of the same name. The Possession of Joel Delaney was one of the earliest films to emerge in a cycle of 1970s possession thrillers. Helmed with an emphasis on documentary-like realism and taking great visual advantage of seedy early 70s New York City, courtesy of cinematographer Arthur J. Ornitz, who shot Serpico and Death Wish. The film stars Oscar winner and 5-time nominee Shirley MacLaine in what is one of the most unusual and unforgettable roles of her career.
Wow. I'm really surprised that's whose name you said.
Yeah, me too.
I saw the cover, but I had no idea that it was Shirley MacLaine. That's cool. Did you order this or do you plan to?
I have not ordered it yet. What I like to do with Vinegar Syndrome for the most part is, I like kind of keep track of the titles that they announce during a year. Mm-hmm. And then when it's a sale, I pick up a bunch of them.
So it's just a day or two away. As we record this, it will have happened or be happening by the time this comes out. But aren't they having a Valentine's Day sale?
Yeah. Not sure what's on it.
Probably not a pre-order, I guess.
No, probably not. It's normally stuff releases of the past 6 months usually aren't in the sales.
Right on.
So like The Possession of Joel Delaney will probably go on sale for the first time during Black Friday.
Okay.
On these smaller releases, they tend not to really go out of print until a sale when a lot of people are buying them. But when it's something like The Keep or Roadhouse, if you're interested in picking them up, you got to scoop those ones the minute they get announced.
Got it.
But yeah, this sounds really cool. I'm really excited to take a peek at it.
The only other one that caught my eye this week was Kino is doing a 4K of Things to Do in Denver When You're Dead. Have you seen that?
No, I know it's Andy Garcia. What's up with that movie?
I don't know. I have a hazy sort of idea just based on something someone said to me once that perhaps it's kind of part of the poor man's Tarantino, Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Mania reaction, type script. That may or may not be true. The cast sounds awesome.
Who is it other than Andy Garcia?
Chris Walken, Christopher Lloyd, William Forsythe, Bill Nunn, Jack Warden, Steve Buscemi. But, right in that 1995 sweet spot that Kino absolutely reigns supreme.
Say no more. We'll have a live reaction on the pod and no one will listen. One for them, one for us.
I think these are all for us. So yeah, that could be good.
I'll add it to I literally have a Post-it note as I record. That's just a list of Kino titles that are coming out either this year or in the next little bit. So the next time Kino has a sale, I can just go in and just add them all.
It's like a shopping list, like a grocery store.
Yeah, but it's more important than food. Okay.
Let's suck the fun out of this room.
When's the first time you saw David Fincher's 1995 classic Seven?
I have memories of walking into either my house or a friend's house and it being on, their parents watching it and then being you guys need to get out of the room. And so I don't think I really actually saw it till, late high school or college.
Okay.
There were always little bits of memories of bits of scenes, but I don't think I really saw it till I was older.
Yeah, same.
So one of the reasons I was excited to do this title on this show, aside from being a lifelong Fincher fan and stoked that they put it out on 4K, is Fight Club primarily, but also Seven are among kind of the holy grail early physical media objects, titles that I had growing up. Fight Club, if you remember, had that cardboard box / butcher paper wrap.
It was wrapped, right? Yeah.
It looked like it was wrapped, yeah.
It was a slip out sleeve.
Yeah, it was a box. It was all made of cardboard, similar to the Lynch titles we talked about last episode from Criterion, where they're not jewel cases, they're all made of paper. Fight Club had a very, special edition that was that, 2 discs, and so did Seven. And Seven's was all black, and it looked like a slip sleeve that would go over a black and white Mead notebook, which is featured in the story of Seven. The serial killer has an apartment filled with all these black and white. It's not checkered, but it's I'm talking about those it almost looks like a leopard spotted black and white notebook. You can go buy it at Target right now.
Oh, yeah. They're composition notebooks.
Yeah. So the case within this black slip that said 7 on the front looked like that. And then you opened it up and, you know, the discs were inside, along with, I think, some sort of like dossier style booklets and things like that. Did you ever have that?
Honestly, this is the first time that I've owned 7 on physical media.
Oh, shit. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So did you get 7 and Fight Club around the same time?
Definitely. Early 2000s.
You just mentioning Fight Club, I don't think I saw 7 till I had seen Fight Club.
Okay, I probably didn't either. Fight Club is one of those movies that, you know, I was 13 or something and was getting into making shorts, and Fincher became like a real inspiration, primarily because of how in depth his DVDs went.
Yeah.
I think I got into 7 because I loved Fight Club so much.
I feel like my older brother really liked Fight Club, so, you know, it felt like a really cool movie.
Yep. I got into it from a friend's older brother, I remember. Definitely, it was like a kind of forbidden fruit style, like curiosity.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I remember sneaking out of the house to watch this movie.
Oh, shit.
Because my friend was like, you have to see Fight Club. And I was like, okay, but my dad won't let me.
Did you have a crush on this boy?
No. I just was like so amped to see this movie.
He probably had a crush on you. He was probably like, come watch Fight Club. Yeah. I have Fight Club on DVD. I probably said I have Fight Club on DVD to girls when I was 14.
It kind of changed me.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with it. I was really obsessed with Helena Bonham Carter for a while. She's so great in it.
When I was 14, I was like, Fight Club rules, Brad Pitt rules, David Fincher rules. And now I watch Fight Club and I'm like, I am a absolute consumer drone.
I'm
Ed Norton now.
Yeah, I am Ed Norton.
I am truly exactly what they said I would be.
Yeah, we're shopping for IKEA on the toilet now.
I had probably when I was like 13, 14. Oh man, this is going to make me throw up. I had a pair of those like red sunglasses Brad Pitt wears.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Did you have spiky bleached hair too?
I bleached it at one point to dye it blue. And so, like, I did have...
You had blue hair?
Yeah, when I was, like, a freshman in high school.
Damn, put a pic on the Instagram.
If I can find one, I will.
One of my cousins and her husband make soap. And last time we were visiting my mom, she was like, oh, we can make you like a Fight Club soap if you want. We have the mold. And when I was 14, all I wanted in the world was Fight Club soap. And they sent it to me and it's amazing.
That's incredible.
It sits above my Blu-rays.
Mm-hmm.
The original like promo soap that's like on the poster and stuff.
Yeah.
Is at Movie Madness here in Portland.
Oh, wow.
The video store?
Yeah.
Along with the ear from Blue Velvet?
Yep.
Yeah.
And one of the knives from Scream.
Dang.
And one of the knives from Psycho.
Wow.
Yeah. Movie Madness is what's up, dude.
It truly is. It's so cool.
It's awesome.
7 is about a detective in kind of an unnamed American city, inspired by New York City. Andrew Kevin Walker, the screenwriter, I believe wrote it while living there, or wrote it, kind of was inspired by living there to write this. It is shot almost, if not entirely, in Los Angeles, but goes by no name in terms of what city it is. It's just sort of an ambiguous, ubiquitous American city.
It is funny though, because the movie feels very East Coast.
Well, partly because it's raining the entire time.
Yeah. But see, that part of it really reminded me of Seattle, but it doesn't really look like Seattle.
Right.
But there's like that feeling of kind of the gray, cold rain. That is very Seattle. I feel like even like I was watching Poltergeist 2 at my job the other day, and there's a shot of a house, and I was like, that's the most LA shit I've ever seen in my life. Like that was just shot right probably on a street, you know, a mile away from the studio.
Yeah.
This movie doesn't feel overwhelmingly LA. It doesn't really look overwhelmingly LA.
No, if I didn't live here, I wouldn't know that. I would not know it was LA.
Yeah.
So it follows Detective Somerset, who is played by Morgan Freeman,
Who's like on his way out. I mean, he's got a week till retirement.
about to retire, and is given sort of not a rookie, but a new transfer to town to be kind of a shadow for him in this last week, played by Brad Pitt, Detective Mills.
Yeah.
Very early on in the movie, they discover the dead body of a man who is very obese and in like a shut-in, found bound at his kitchen table, surrounded by spaghetti sauce cans. Is that what it is?
Yeah, like a Chef Boyardee.
Yeah. Who has eaten himself to death, to the point of the coroner sort of determines that he's been kicked And
like it ruptured his insides.
yeah, we should say right now that Seven is fucking gnarly.
Yeah.
So
Maybe one of the ugliest movies of all time.
yeah, we're going to be talking about some gross shit. There are more bodies that pop up, and they soon discover that there is a serial killer killing people based on the 7 deadly sins.
You know, that starts off this wave of murders, this kind of mystery that's following the murders, and it's up to these two detectives who at first are not really getting along in any way, have vastly different ways of doing things. Morgan Freeman's character is very meticulous, and Brad Pitt's character is kind of the hothead, like rush into any situation.
Mm-hmm.
The killer is reaching out to them, whether it's via the phone or leaving messages in the murders, and it's up to them to, you know, solve it. So this movie, especially watching it this time, I had last seen it probably, I don't know, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, and just streaming on Netflix. So it had been a minute since I feel like I kind of properly sat down and watched it. This movie is very dark, very bleak, not just in subject matter, but in look. Kurt mentioned earlier, it's raining in every single scene. There's not much daylight. There's a lot of like dimly lit, tight rooms.
Sort of like a version of a Gotham City, I feel.
Yes, very much so. And it's ugly. Like, there's people like constantly in long jackets, like holding newspapers over their heads. It's just kind of like
There's a lot of crime and like a lot of...
Yeah, and everything looks kind of oozy and gross. But I also forgot how goddamn funny the script is. There are some lines that had me like laughing out loud.
Oh yeah, Brad Pitt's hilarious in this.
He's really funny in it.
There's a scene where Morgan Freeman goes over to dinner at Brad Pitt's house at the behest of Brad Pitt's wife, who's played by Gwyneth Paltrow. And Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman, are sort of have this like salty relationship because Brad Pitt feels like he's earned his status as a detective, and Morgan Freeman is like talking down to him and making him do shit that he feels he's graduated from or is above.
Yeah.
But Gwyneth Paltrow's character, she's like gone to bed or something after dinner, and the two men are jumping right back into kind of poring over evidence and
drinking PBRs.
Yeah, trying to solve the case. And Brad Pitt's like, I'm going to get another beer. You want another beer? And Morgan Freeman's like, bring me a wine.
Oh,
and you see Brad Pitt in the kitchen. He grabs like a full-blown like pint glass or water glass and just fills it to the brim with wine. And in a way where like he clearly just like doesn't know how to pour wine.
Yeah, he doesn't know the etiquette.
Yeah, he brings it over, like sets it in front of Morgan Freeman. After, a good minute or two of screen time, this sort of little scene of excitement of like, oh shit, they got another clue, blah, blah, blah. And there's just this really brief like cut to a 2-shot where Morgan Freeman just does this like blink and you miss it reaction to the fact, finally to the fact that Brad Pitt has poured him a pint glass of wine.
He's like horrified by it,
Yeah.
but like hides it quickly. It's perfect.
And like I've seen this movie so many times, I don't think I ever noticed that. It made me laugh this time.
Yeah,
so hard. It really is
so
funny.
funny.
It's a great screenplay.
Yeah. And it's, that beautiful era of practical movie making. I mean, what are we considering movies that are like, Seven and Zodiac and Silence of the Lambs? Like, do we just throw those in thriller? Because they're not like horror movies.
I mean, they're all serial killer.
Yeah, but it's not like a Friday the 13th or like a Michael Myers type serial killer slasher. There's something more to these movies. I guess thriller is the right word, but we just don't get a lot of these kind of mid-tier but really well acted and directed thrillers anymore.
Yeah, I mean, this one feels sort of beyond like one genre to me.
Because it's not like scary, but then like certain scary things happen in it at the same time.
Yeah, Silence of the Lambs is a good comparison where it shows you just such gnarly crime scenes. I mean, they talk about this on the commentary track, one of them on this disc, but it's ironic, I guess, how, this is probably thought to be one of the more violent movies of its popularity from the 90s. But there really isn't a lot of on-screen violence. You're just arriving after the violence is over, and you're just seeing these really brutal crime scenes because these murders, as we said, are inspired by the 7 deadly sins. So we talked about the gluttony one, but there's one for all of them. lust, greed, sloth.
Yeah, what's the most gnarly to you?
Oof, the sloth was
Probably sloth. Yeah.
fucking... That was scary to see this time around.
Sorry, is sloth the one where they're tied to the bed?
He's tied. The killer has tied someone to a bed for a year,
Yeah.
For like a year, he's just like tortured this man. It's horrible.
and they find him, and he's not even dead.
Oh, God, it is so... It's gnarly, man. It's hard to watch.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much dread in this film. It's just like, and the score is so heavy, and there's not like that levity from Fight Club. It's very like intense.
But it is presented from sort of the filter of a detective movie as opposed to a horror movie. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
yeah, you're not seeing it happen, but it's an incredibly dark, I would say, detective movie.
Yeah.
more than
Noir.
anything.
Like it felt,
Noir.
yeah, it's Fincher's like kind of straight down the line noir, as is Zodiac in a way.
Zodiac, I feel like, is like kind of more of a traditional noir than this.
But even Zodiac, you see a few of the murders anyways.
Yeah.
The first thing I think of for Zodiac is that scene by the beach, which you don't really see by the lake.
They're always showing up after the crime has been committed in 7, except for the one time that they don't. The movie really, like, I wouldn't say takes off at that point, but it's a really smartly constructed movie in the sense of where the minute you kind of are like, maybe not a lull is the right word, but like there's been a lot of detective work happening, and Fincher throws in like a pretty great like chase scene.
Yes.
And then it kind of goes back to the more traditional detective work, but you've gotten a taste for there's something else going on at this point.
This is a movie that we could spoil, but I would say we shouldn't. I think there's kind of no reason to. The killer, the revelation of kind of who they are, is something that was left out of the marketing, which is just so genius.
It's so genius.
Even Kim, you'd seen this movie, and when the performer who plays the killer shows up, 3/4 of the way through this movie, you had forgotten even who it was.
I totally forgot.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
The way the third act of this movie plays out, and then kind of where that goes, is legendary. It's like kind of unbeatable. It's why 7 is 7.
Yeah.
And, if you haven't seen this, I don't want to take that away from anybody.
And to your point, like the way that character's introduced, I forgot how kind of useless Brad Pitt is as a cop in the first half of this movie.
Well, he's like a rookie, sort of, in a way.
But he says like he's been doing homicide for 5 years. He just hasn't done it in this city. And he's just such a hothead that he constantly is like making the wrong decision because it's like his ego is too much in it, or he cares too much, as Somerset says to him. He's like, this city will change you. You have to allow yourself to be changed. Like, you have to be different to be able to be a useful tool in this machine. And I would say that by the end of the movie, he's fairly changed.
Yeah.
Definitely.
What's in the bigs?
Well, we have to talk about the box.
What's in the box, though, Kim?
No, I don't want to. I don't think we should.
Okay.
That's all there is to say. It's just like, this movie is a really engaging and absorbing sort of detective mystery that like locks you to the perspective of the detectives and doesn't stray from it. And, the use of that POV is really effective, and the crime scenes and the kind of the forensic side of it makes it very engaging. And the third act is just so radical from a kind of studio movie point of view that you've seen it and you know what we're talking about, or you haven't, and you should.
Fincher is so talented at creating these tense, extremely well-crafted scenes that there's a scene in which they go through library records in this movie, and I'm like glued to the TV, hanging on the edge of my seat, right? Like, and this is literally people going through library book rentals. But there's something about it because, as you're saying, Kurt, like, we are so locked into this mystery from the POV of these two characters that when you get this tiny little lead, it feels great. It feels like this massive revelation. That's an awesome feeling that a lot of filmmakers can't do. Did you watch the alternate ending that's on the disc?
I did. I watched both. There's one that's footage and one that's storyboards.
Yeah, me too. Did you watch it with his commentary?
Yes.
Yeah, so did I. And I think one of the most interesting things about watching those alternate endings is that one of them is pretty different, but the other one, the one that they actually shot, is fairly similar to the way that the movie plays out. But there's all these different insert shots, and he holds the camera longer on certain takes. And honestly, they're so similar, but it's a much better ending. Like the alternate ending was fine, but the one that's in the movie is like, yeah, dude, this is exactly the footage you should have chosen. This is exactly what you went out to make.
Yeah, and it sort of doesn't have the little coda at the end. That's kind of the biggest difference, even beyond performance. A lot of the bonus features on this disc, if not most of them, are from previous releases, even dating as far back as the one I was talking about on DVD. You know, many of his movies are just so packed and generous with their behind the scenes. I've always found that he is willing to show the process in a way that is so transparent. I remember The Social Network coming out and Blu-ray, and at least my experience watching the behind the scenes, and he would just include shots of him just directing actors in a way where you just felt like you were a fly on the wall and you were getting to be involved in that process. And it's just something that I feel like most EPKs like cut around. They don't include that stuff. And anyways, he's always been really generous, I feel like, with behind the scenes in physical media.
Did you watch that theatrical EPK that's on this disc?
Yeah, I did.
Man, it's so funny because that's clearly probably from the DVD. I mean, it's in 4:3. It's like,
oh yeah.
It was shot in 1995 when the movie was.
Yeah.
It's funny to include it. I think it's also interesting to include that on the disc and not like a teaser or the theatrical trailer, because that's really what I wanted to see, because I wanted to know how they build the movie.
Yeah.
With the actors after I had seen it again.
Yeah, definitely. It's unfortunate that they didn't include a trailer. But you mentioned the library, you mentioned the lighting. There are 4 commentary tracks on this disc. I listened to pieces of 2 of them. The 2 I didn't listen to, one is about sound, so it's sound designers and probably Fincher, and then one is the 2 leads, Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and Fincher. I listened to one that was about the story, and then one which is about the look. And they're not traditional commentary tracks, like they're not in the same room, unfortunately, but it's some type of scholar is kind of like guiding you through it, and then you're cutting to different commentary tracks that were recorded solo from parties involved. So the story one's really great. It has Andrew Kevin Walker on there, the screenwriter, who talks a lot about, influences, research and things. And then Fincher has a lot to say about story as well, of course. But the one about the look is really great because it's Darius Kanji, the cinematographer, who's a legend. He's worked with Bong Joon-ho. He's worked with PTA, James Gray, the Safdie brothers, Nicholas Winding Refn. He's done a lot of Woody Allen movies. He's done some Polanski movies. He's been around. But the cinematography in this movie, the lighting, the shadows, the production design. Arthur Max is the production designer of this movie. You mentioned the library. They did that inside of like an old bank in LA. Like there wasn't, they wanted the sort of like New York, Manhattan public library or whatever vibe, but they couldn't find anything that felt that old. It's one of the first things I think about when I think of Seven is that library.
Yeah.
And it's this, very like dark, all these green classic like table lamps with like the glass green shade are all over the place. And he talked about on the commentary how they like, they had to design the spines of all these classic books, and they just built these like really long, like 4-foot panels basically, and like aged them and made them look like, there were spines for however many books is 4 feet long. So it's all designed.
That's so cool. And I understand how much time and effort that takes, but now it's all just created digitally, more or less. But there's something about that, up until about 1998, everything was pretty much made, and we don't see that as much anymore, and it's a bummer. You watch Seven, you think of a library. It like a library sticks into your brain.
Yeah.
We have 2 longer scenes in that location, but it's not the thing that you walk out of Seven going, oh my God, the library.
And it's just narratively kind of such a break from the horrible shit you're seeing. It's this really beautiful sequence. What else is on this disc? There's a really cool, it's very dated at this point, but it's from the DVD, and it's about sort of the mastering for the home theater format.
Yeah. I didn't watch all of it, but I watched about 10 minutes of it. I was like, this is wild, man.
My takeaway from it was how kind of revolutionary the 7 DVD was for the DVD world, the home video world.
Okay.
And this is, like we said, from that release. But it's the sound designers talking about how they mixed it for home video specifically, and how, that wasn't normal. It was usually guess they would just sort of take the theatrical mix and drop it on the DVDs, but they did it specifically for the home video world. And the second half of that feature is all about the color correction and like the telecine process of transferring the film to video for home video. And they talk all about recoloring the footage. It's not totally clear, but I'm assuming what they're talking about is like digitally recoloring the footage for the home video release. And it's really interesting. Like basically just you're watching the colorist's monitor, like a feed from his monitor, while he color corrects like the ending scene in real time and just is narrating what he's doing. And at the time, it was a really revolutionary thing to have a digital sort of Da Vinci color correction process. So they're making like power windows around people's faces and changing the color of the sky and stuff. And I think in 2000, whatever, like 1 or 2, when this special edition came out, it was really revolutionary. And they're talking about like, oh, Fincher likes to like adjust highlights of things that are too bright and bring things up that aren't. And as time has gone on, Fincher's become kind of a staple of digital manipulation in subtle ways like that and controlling the image. And, he's famous for stabilizing his tripod shots digitally. And it might sound crazy, but it has come to kind of define the Fincher look, like this ultra processed digital feeling that's not entirely based around CGI or something.
One of the things that originally turned me off about Panic Room so much is that the look of that movie is very strange.
Yeah, I'm anxious to watch it again, especially in 4K, which is coming soon. But
yeah, let's highlight that really quickly. A lot of his titles just came out. I mean, Panic Room is coming out. Did that Social Network standalone Steelbook drop?
Comes out the week of this release.
Okay. So definitely go get that. This Seven just came out. Zodiac came out not too long ago.
Yep. And there were rumors of Fight Club. I think that might be in the works at some point.
Yeah.
So we should talk a little bit about the way this looks.
Okay.
This coincided with an IMAX re-release earlier in January. Same, I assume, transfer and everything that is presented here on the 4K. And Fincher was very involved and did a lot of digital restoration. So removing things, adding things. I'll say first off that it's nothing I noticed.
No.
I didn't notice anything while watching it. I think you probably have to literally A/B it, or watch simultaneously with previous releases of this to really catch what he's doing.
Dude, when I turned it on, I was like 10 minutes in and I was like, God, is this what everyone's been talking about? Because there was like, a weird sheen. Some of the shots looked a little weird. And I went into my settings. Somehow Cinemotion was back on.
Oh, funny.
I almost lost my mind.
Oh, I hate that.
Like True Motion?
Yeah.
I wonder how long that's been on.
Not acceptable. I don't know what to tell you. Whoever broke into my house and turned that shit on, please don't do that again.
My reaction was sort of like, this looks good. It doesn't really have a lot of prevalent grain, which I was wondering if they sort of removed. Upon further research, it seems maybe that the stock in which it was shot and whatever always had a very, very fine grain structure.
Okay.
So I'm not sure. I can't speak to whether that was something that they removed or, tried to give sort of a more modern appearance to, like James Cameron style, for example.
Yeah.
But overall, I thought it looked great. The colors are amazing. The depth of contrast in HDR, the shadows.
The blacks are like beautiful. Like beautifully dark, beautifully black. The rain and the sound of the rain that like permeates the entire movie is incredible. I was surprised that I've never owned this before, having just watched it and had such like I really do like this movie a lot. It's weird to be like, I had such an enjoyable time watching Seven, but
here we are.
It's a really, here we are talking about it on a podcast. It's a great movie, and this edition of it looks great. I was kind of overly watching it for that stuff too, Kurt, where I was like, man, I've read a couple articles about this. I know that the James Cameron releases from earlier last year were big talking points. This one feels way less messed with than the James Cameron ones did.
Yeah, for sure.
Is this your favorite Fincher film?
No, definitely not.
Whoa.
No, I would say my favorite Fincher film is The Social Network.
Yeah.
Wow, really?
Definitely.
That's surprising.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I love it too.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's
perfect.
So good.
It's a perfect movie.
I really like Seven, but I like put the stack in front of me and it's I would say it's maybe not even like the first half of what I'm going to throw on.
Interesting. Okay.
I admire it as, Alien 3 is what it is, and he's disowned it, and I don't think he can say enough about what a miserable time he had on it, but
Yeah.
as kind of an entrance into feature film, Seven, it's not his first movie, but Seven it feels like a debut, and
But what a debut.
what a debut.
What about the game? Where does the game rank?
The game is high.
See, I always forget about the game.
The game is high.
The game is so fun.
I know that there's one, because it's 7, the game, Fight Club, right?
Yes.
I need to rewatch the game. I know Criterion put that Blu-ray out. Is it also a 4K now these days?
It's not.
Okay.
You're really stepping on my wishes here, people.
Oh, sorry. Gotta pull one out of the hat.
Pull it out of the hat. I got it. Don't worry. Anything else on Seven?
No. Again, if you have not seen this movie, do yourselves a favor and go out and see it.
I think it's a great release. It's, like we said, very legacy. Let me check. I don't think that there's anything on this disc that's new.
I honestly don't think there's one new. Yeah.
Yeah.
Honestly, for somebody who doesn't, watch a lot of trailers or watches a lot of movies from the mid 90s or earlier that I just wasn't really around for the trailers of, it bums me out when there's not a trailer on the Blu-ray or 4K, because I often want to watch the movie and then visit the trailer to see how they marketed it.
Definitely. Seems like such an easy addition.
Without a doubt, right? I think it should be on every disc.
Real quickly before we move on here, Sam, talk to me about the packaging. How are you feeling?
Okay.
This is a controversial packaging.
So I went with the non-steelbook, as listeners of this show probably know. Kind of like the DVD that Kurt was describing before. It's like a cardboard, kind of papery package that's very thin. There's like a side-loading slip sleeve.
Yep.
And then you open what comes out of that, and it's kind of like a card that keeps opening. There's like 4 panels to it.
And they're like magnetically shut, which is cool.
I love the magnetically shut thing.
Yeah.
Everything else about the packaging is terrible.
Yeah, it's not great.
Where the disc lies is terrible. How 7 is only written on one of the spines and it's upside down.
And is it backwards? It's backwards and upside down, right? Like you have to like put the package backwards and upside down for 7 to read like your other spines on your shelf.
It's like, I will say there's like a nice kind of matte finish on the packaging, which I like. I like the magnet.
Yeah.
The interior is kind of ugly too. It's just like a bunch of screenshots from the movie.
It's like the photos that John Doe takes, right? Isn't it that?
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I think one of them is, at least. It's the one of, well, no spoilers.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny. I mean, I think it's kind of punk rock. all his packaging is. I like to imagine him being like, fuck you kids. Like, I'm going to make it backwards and upside down. Okay, before we go, it's time to put wishes out into the physical media universe for titles on formats that do not yet exist. I'm obviously not doing the game.
Okay. Well, you go first because I feel like I might take yours. So go.
Oh, shit. Okay, here we go. I wish for David Fincher's The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo on 4K UHD.
I wish for Anton Corbin's The American on 4K UHD, hopefully from Arrow.
I have a wish. It's called What a Way to Go.
Kim, what's this movie?
When you brought up Shirley MacLaine, I was like, God, I haven't seen What a Way to Go in a long time. It's a 1964 film with a ton of people in it. Shirley MacLaine, Robert Mitchum, Paul Newman, Gene Kelly, Dick Van Dyke, Dean Martin. It's like a quintessential 60s movie.
Wow.
Yeah, everyone's in it.
Incredible fashion. Yeah, she's like a millionaire, and like she talks about like her ex-husbands, and like each sequences with her ex-husband is like a whole different like fashion scene. Anyway, it's amazing. I love it.
Hell yeah. I'd watch that.
Yep.
Marty, you did take my wish, so I pivoted.
Nice.
This movie rules.
My pick?
Yeah, another bleak serial killer thriller.
Yeah, this is Fincher's installment of The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy. He only made one because I don't think it performed very well.
Yeah. God, I would have loved to see others.
Rooney Mara, Daniel Craig, Robin Wright, and Stellan Skarsgård.
Mm-hmm.
Swedish set serial killer mystery thriller.
Beautiful to look at.
Unbelievable. top-notch stuff. They only made one, ends on a cliffhanger, and we never got any more. But it holds up for what it is.
Yeah, it's great.
And one of the great teaser trailers of all time. So hopefully when
Oh, God, yeah, remember that?
Sony heeds my call, they'll include that on the 4K.
Mine's the American. I talked about it on an early episode of this podcast. This is a 2010 George Clooney starring, Anton Corbijn directed, kind of quiet European thriller that I think would look incredible on 4K. Everybody knows on this show we love our little boutique labels, so I just have a studio release Blu-ray, and I would love to get a big old box or something cool from one of the smaller labels. When was the last time you've seen this?
Couple years.
Okay.
Definitely. I've watched it in the last couple years. It's great.
Hell yeah, that's awesome.
Okay, that is it for another episode of Physical Therapy. A big thank you to you for listening, and to Patrick Laban for our music, Kimberly for producing. Samuel, we did it. I hope that none of your 7 deadly sins result in your death this week.
Yeah, there have been plenty.
Is buying too many movies a 7 deadly sin?
Greed, right?
Greed. Fuck.
Fuck, dude. We're so dead. And lust. Lusting after movies.
Kim's gonna, seriously. Kim's gonna come in here and find me with blood circled around my open eyeballs while Tenet plays.
Oh no.
And all 3 cats on top of your dead body.
What a way to go out.
What a way to go out.
What a way to go. Like my movie.
We will see you next week for Kill Bill 1 and 2.